Hey guys, be here with our next Team Take and Make. Today we are going to make Among Us plushes, and so we're going to do some sewing and also some stuffing. They're really fun, and yeah, let's get right into it. Alright guys, like I said, we're going to make an Among Us plush. So inside of our bag we have some instructions, we have a template, we have some polyfill, some stuffing, some embroidery floss, a needle, and two pieces of felt, a small white piece and a larger colored piece. This is what we're going to use for the body and the backpack, and this is what we're going to use for the face. So our first step is to cut out our template pieces. So you'll need a pair of scissors, and let's get right on it. Okay, so now we have a face piece, backpack, and body. Our next step is to cut out two of the body pieces from our colored felt. So what you'll do is put your template on top, and what I like to do is use a pen. So using your pen, trace two bodies onto the felt. Okay, so as you can see, we have outlined two body pieces, and now let's go ahead and outline the backpack piece. So there should be a little bit more space off to the side. Go ahead and outline that there. Now we have two bodies and a backpack. Let's go ahead and cut these out. Okay, so now we have two body pieces and a backpack. And at this point, let's go ahead and take our white piece of felt, and using our face template, we're going to outline this and then cut it out. At this point, we want to line up our body pieces. These are going to be mirror images of each other, and there's going to be one way that they align almost perfectly. If you do it the opposite way, they don't align as perfectly. So you want to make sure that these are lined up so that they match. This is going to be the outside of your plush. Now we want to thread our needle. So we're going to take our embroidery floss and we're going to separate out two strands. There are 6 strands total in this larger strand of embroidery floss. So we want to pull 2 of these off. And what you do is you just take the 2 and you slowly pull it. You don't want to do this quickly, because it'll knot up if you try to do it too fast. So just be slow, take your time. What I'm doing is I'm holding both pieces in one hand, and I'm using my other hand to straighten out the string as my finger separates the 2. It's kind of a complicated motion, but if you can master it, it'll help. So we'll take one end and wet it, and then we will slide it through our needle. What we're going to do is pull the strand through all the way so that the 2 tail ends meet, and we're going to tie a knot here. So put them together so that they form one strand, and we're going to tie a knot. So make a little loop, push your tail in through, push it through one more time, and then we're going to pull this knot closed. Now we are ready to start appliquing our face and backpack pieces to our Among Us character. So remember, we have these aligned. Let's start with the backpack. So what we're going to do is put it right on top and then separate the 2, because we only want to apply it to one side. Okay, so to attach the backpack to the body piece, we're going to use the blanket stitch. So take your needle, and what we're going to do is go through the back side of the backpack and pull the string through. The little tail, you can just tuck in Now what we're going to do is go through the body piece just beyond the backpack and pull it through. And from the back, we're going to go through the first hole that we made. So we're going to go through this hole from the back. Okay, pull through. This is our starter stitch, and so it's going to be a little different. So what we're going to do now is take our needle and go through the stitch that we made right here and pull it up and away. And now our starter stitch is done and we can start the remainder of the stitches. So what we're going to do is go a little bit down for our next stitch, about there, and we're going to go through the backpack and the body and then come back up through the body only. So we've gone through the backpack and the body and then back up through the body. Take our string, put it behind our needle and down. Kind of hold that there with your finger and then pull this through. And that's our first stitch. So again, we're going to go just a little distance down, about right there, through the backpack and the back, and then we're going to go put the needle back through to the front, like so. Take your string, go behind the needle and down, kind of hold it with your finger, and then pull the needle through. Okay. Now we're just going to keep doing this stitch all the way around until we get to this point right here, leaving a little pocket so we can stuff, okay? So let's do the blanket stitch all the way around to this point. Okay guys, now that we're at this point, we have a little opening here. We're going to put a little bit of our stuffing in here, not a lot, just a little bit. So I'm going to take off probably like that much. So take it and just kind of stuff it in. I find that if you have like a pencil handy or your pen from earlier, you can use this to like stuff it down in there, get it all the way in. And like I said, it doesn't take a lot. We just want a little bit of a puff. See that? Just a little puffy. Just a little bit. And now we can finish our stitches up to the other side. And then I'll show you how to finish off. Okay, for our last stitch, let's just go into the original hole that we made in our first stitch here and work the stitch normally. So back up from the back, wrap around, pull through, and there we go. Now at this point, what you can do is just pick a point and very close to where you are and go back through the back. See, you can't see anything up front, but we got the string to the back. And what you'll do is go through a stitch in the back and then put your needle through this loop that's made to make a knot. You'll tie it, pull that tight. Do it once more just for good measure. Pull through a stitch, then through the loop, and pull it through. Okay, and then we can take our scissors and cut off our string. So it looks just like that. And that's okay because this is going to be on the inside of our piece. And that's what the backpack looks like. Good job. Now what I want you to do is line up your pieces again so that the backpack is on the outside. And so we're going to lay it down like this so we can place our face mask. And we're going to do the same applique process, the same attachment process. So go ahead and apply your face to this front piece. Okay guys, when you get to this point where you've stitched all the way around, leave a pocket and we're going to put some stuffing there, about the same amount as the backpack. So again, you just take your stuffing and you stuff it. Just a little bit. Just a little bit goes a long way. And go ahead and finish off the top edge. When you need more string, all you need to do is pull off 2 more strands of your embroidery floss and do as we did the first time. So thread it through and pull it through so that both ends are together and tie a knot. Remember when you're separating them to go slow so that you don't get a big knot. It's always better to go slow and to avoid the knots. Trust me. Like here, I think I've gotten a knot. Please hold while I fix my knot. All right, guys, so we have our front piece with the mask and our back piece with the backpack. What we want to do now is put the back sides together, line them up, and here we're going to do the blanket stitch a little differently. This is going to be the blanket stitch for joining. So we're joining the back piece to the front piece. So we're going to start in the same place, the top corner, and we have our string, and don't forget to make a knot. So what we're going to do is go in between these flaps for our first stitch from the back to the front so that we can hide that tail. Pull your string through. And at this point, we're going to go all the way from the back to the front through that same hole, through both pieces, so that it wraps around both sides. Okay. Similarly to the starter stitch for applique, we're going to go through this first stitch with our needle, like that, pull it through, up and away. This aligns our string to the top so that when we make our next stitch, this is in the right place. So this is very similar to the stitch that we used for applique. It's all the blanket stitch. So we're going to start our stitch a little to the side of our previous stitch, about that far, and go through both sides. We're going to wrap our string around the back and down, hold it with our finger, and pull through, just like we did with the applique. And it makes a nice stitch like that. Okay, again, move down your fabric the space of 1 stitch, go through both sides, wrap your string around the back and down, holding with your finger, and pull through. Okay, do that all the way down the legs and then up, and we're going to stop at this top corner to do the stuffing. Okay. While you're working, make sure that you're always checking to make sure your pieces are lined up properly. Okay guys, so at some point you're going to need to get new string. And so I'm at that point now. What you'll want to do is make a knot through one of your existing stitches. So pull it through, make a loop, and then pull your string through the loop. I'll show you that again. Go through one of the stitches, making a loop. Put your needle through that loop and pull it to make a knot. Okay. Then what I would suggest is you cut off kind of a longish tail, maybe about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and just tuck that in. Okay. And then you'll get new string to put on your needle. To start a new string in joining, what you're going to do is take your needle and from inside come up through the last stitch you made, right there. Pull through. And we're going to tuck in that tail. Then we'll go all the way to the back and push through that same stitch. Pull through. Then, just with all of our other starter stitches, we're going to take our needle and go through the stitch that we just made, then pull up and away. And that gets our string in the right position to start our next stitch. Okay guys, so when we get to this point, we have this opening, and we can use the rest of our stuffing to stuff the legs and the body part. So I'm just going to like rip this apart a little bit to make it more fluffy. Taking our pencil from before, we're going to start with a little bit and try to get it in the leg pieces. And just stuff until your heart is content. Stuff until it feels like enough stuff. Okay? And then once you've got all of your stuffing in, at this point, we're going to go ahead and finish the stitches across the top. Okay, for this last stitch, we're going to work it through our first stitch. So go through the bottom of the first stitch, wrap the string around and down, pull through. And now we're going to make a knot, going through one of the stitches on top, making a loop. Needle goes through the loop, pull it closed. And then what I do is I stick my needle through to the inside and then just find a point to poke it out. Pull the excess yarn or excess string all the way through. And then I just trim it right wherever it came out. I pull it a little tight, do a little trim, and then the string kind of goes back inside. So you can't see it, but it's tucked in. Alright guys, and there is our Among Us plush. I hope that you enjoyed this teen take and make. If you would like, I'd love to see your pictures of your crew member, so feel free to send in pictures if you'd like. Otherwise, we'll see you for the next teen take and make. In the meantime, be safe, take care, wash your hands, and we will see you next week.